Hi guys! Today we're gonna model a box of chocolate in Blender. So let's start immediately with the box and then we'll create all the chocolates inside. I'm gonna delete the cube and I create with Shift A plane. Okay, now in the top view, you can go in the top view by pressing 7 on your keyboard. You select your plane and you press R, Z and 45 degrees. You can see here in this small menu that we rotated our plane by 45 degrees on the Z axis. Okay. I'm just gonna hide my lights for a second. And now, if you go into edit mode by pressing Tab, I'm gonna connect this vertex with this one, with the knife. So I press K and I connect the two vertices. And now I can delete the left face. Okay, now we are left with this part of the plane, and I prefer to press Ctrl A and apply all transforms. Now we're gonna add a mirror modifier to this plane. So we go here and we choose the mirror. Okay, now with the edge selection, we can select this. Okay, and then we go here and we choose normal. And now I press E to extrude and I move the face that I extruded like this. Okay. Now we go back to vertex selection and I pick this vertex here and we're gonna add a bevel here. We're gonna use a bevel, so I press Ctrl B and I drag it, but you see that nothing is happening. So I release it and automatically Blender opens this small menu. And here we can switch from edges to vertices, like this. And we can also increase this value and add more segments. Yes. I'm gonna do the same with this vertex here on top, so I press Ctrl V, I release, and here in the menu I choose vertices and I adjust my parameters until I have a shape that it's actually looking like an heart. Now my heart, I think it's looking pretty good, so I can apply my mirror modifier. And that's it. Now we have our heart. And the first thing we are gonna do is select everything with A and press I to insert. Okay. Now we can select all these faces here and extrude them to the top. So we press E and we move them up. Okay, I think that like this it's pretty good. Okay, now we're gonna create the inside. So we create another plane with Shift A and we move it aside for now. We need to subdivide it into small faces. So with Ctrl R, we add edges. And another 4 edges on this side, like this. Okay, now we can put it here on top of our heart and scale it until it covers all the inside of the heart. Okay, now we are gonna use the knife tool to draw an art on this new plane that we created, and then we are gonna move it back here, and it's gonna be the inside of the box. So I press K to activate the knife tool, and I think it's better to go into the wireframe view. Okay, I press K, I activate the knife tool, and I start drawing an art on my heart. Okay, now we just have to delete all these faces outside of the heart shape. Now I apply again all transforms to my plane, and then I select all the faces, and I'm gonna press I to insert. But actually, once you release it, you have to go here in this menu and select individual. Now we can adjust our thickness until we have something good. I think that this is enough. Okay, and we can skip to the next part. Now we're gonna extrude all these faces and move them down. So I press E and I grab them and move them a little like this. Okay, now we're gonna smooth these two objects. For the box, I'm gonna add a subdivision surface modifier. And I'm also gonna press the left mouse button and choose Shade Smooth, like this. Also, I just noticed that the bottom part of the box is not closed, so I hide my modifier for a while. And we can just select all these edges here. Let's switch back to global orientation. I'm gonna move these edges down a bit, and then I'm gonna press F. Okay, now our box is closed. We can unhide our subdivision modifier. You see that our shape is completely lost, and that is just because we have to add more edges. So we go into edit mode, and I'm gonna add an edge loop with Ctrl R here, like this, and another one here to recreate the angle, and on the left side too. Okay, maybe they are too close, so I'm gonna leave them like this. Okay, and also here. For this part inside, we are actually gonna use a bevel modifier, but you see that in case nothing happens for you, as it's not happening for me, you just have to go in geometry and deselect clamp overlap. And now you can adjust the amount, and I think I'm gonna leave it like this. Okay, now we are gonna add all our chocolates and the materials too. I'm gonna show you my lightning later, but for now I just created this area light to see what I'm doing with this value of power. So first of all, let's add a red material to our chocolate box. So I go here and create a new slot. And I select a red color, maybe a little darker, like this. And also I'm gonna fix my roughness and my specularity. I think I'm gonna add another edge loop here with Ctrl R and bring it up a bit. Okay. For the inside, I'm gonna use a golden material, so I choose a yellow color, something like this, and then I'm gonna increase the metalness. Okay. And reduce the roughness a bit. Okay. Okay, now you can create all the chocolates that you want. I'm gonna show you just a few types that are really quick to do. So let's start with a simple cube here. Let's scale it and already place it here in one of these slots, like this. I'm gonna scale it on the Z-axis too. The only thing that I need to do is assign a bevel modifier and reduce it just to have some smooth edges. Okay, and now I'm just gonna divide it into 3 parts. So Ctrl R, you can scroll the middle mouse button to choose how many edges. I'm gonna add just 2 loop of edges, and now we have our 3 parts. Now let's go immediately in the material properties. I choose a brown color for the chocolate, but I want it to be more glossy, so I set the roughness down. Okay. Now I select this loop of faces and I create a new slot. Okay, for the third part we add another slot and it will be even lighter, like this. Okay, let's go to the... Okay, let's start creating the second type of chocolate. For this second chocolate, I'm gonna use a UV sphere, but we don't need the bottom part of the sphere, so I delete it immediately. And close it. I think we can use the same chocolate material, at least for now, or we can copy it, remove it, create another slot, and then paste the material. So we have pick all these properties already in this new material. But we can change it a little without changing without changing the other chocolate. Okay, now we're gonna create some super simple decoration for this chocolate. So in case you don't already have it enabled, I suggest that you go here in Edit and Preferences, and here in Add-ons you have to check Add Curve Extra Objects. Once you have enabled it, you can press Shift A and you can choose here in Curves all these new types of curves. And now we're gonna use some spirals, and I'm gonna select Torus. Now here in this menu, we can add as many turns as we want. And we can also go here in Curve Properties and in Bevel increase the depth of our curve. Okay, I think it's pretty good enough. I scale it. This is gonna be some sort of cream, so let's add a new material. And in this case, we don't need any roughness, and we probably want some subsurface effect. Yes. Okay. And I think we need a berry here in the middle, so very simple, another sphere. I'm gonna duplicate it and assign a few berries to this little cake here. The third chocolate will have the shape of a seashell, so I'm gonna use a drawing that I did, but you can pick an image that you prefer, or you can screenshot this one. Okay, I'm gonna scale it and place it here. And now I create a new plane and drag it here. You see that we have 9 stripes here, so I create 9 stripes here too. And then I release. Now all of this can be scaled down here like this, and I can start moving all the vertices until they match the drawing. I'm gonna add new vertices between all of these stripes to create this rounded effect. Okay, now I select all these edges and move them up like this. We're gonna merge all these vertices into one, but let's leave it like this for now because we need to add more edge loops. One here and one here. Now, let's see how it looks like with the subdivision surface modifier applied. It looks pretty cool, and now we can actually select all these bottom vertices and press M and merge to center. And these ones here, we can scale them on the Z axis, like this. Okay, very good. Now we can select all these vertices and press E to extrude until we have the thickness that we want. Now we can add this simple part by creating a simple cylinder and place it here. Okay, now we have our chocolate shell. We can delete the reference image and we can move it and place it where we want it. I think I'm actually gonna scale it on the Z-axis a little bit, like this. And I want a very dark chocolate material for this one. The fourth type of chocolate is gonna be another sphere. We can simply select this one and duplicate it with Shift D and place it here. We're gonna basically add a curve on top of it. So I place here our cursor and I add a new path. I scale it. So in order to do it, we can simply enable here our snap and choose vertex or face. So now if we go into edit mode and we move our vertices, they automatically snap and get closer to our mesh. And we can press E to extrude. Now let's go here in the curve properties and increase the depth like this. Now we can deselect the snap and adjust it manually. And also remember that you can scale the vertices by pressing Alt S. You're gonna see here Alt 1 because I changed my shortcut, but the correct shortcut is Alt S. So we can reduce here Okay, let's see how it looks like. Really, really cute. We can leave it white, maybe assign our cream material. The last type of chocolate that we're gonna create will be another sphere like this one, but we're gonna use a very simple particle system and create the effect of some sort of coconut grains on top of this chocolate. So first of all, we need the particle that we're gonna use. So I add a plane, scale it, add many new edges like this, and now I'm gonna really move these vertices around randomly, because it really has to look like a grain, something really not geometric. Okay. And now I select all the vertices and extrude them and move them down like this. Okay, now we have our particle that looks like a piece of coconut. Now we can select our chocolate, go here in particle properties, add a new particle system, and choose air. Now we go into render and we choose render as object. And here we can pick this and select our plane. Now, first of all, we increase the scale and we increase the scale randomness to 1. But we also have to rotate this particle in different angles. So we select advanced, and here you see that now we have these rotation properties. So if we enable it, we can rotate our particles differently. Okay. But I think I'm gonna also go and select the original particle, go into edit mode and rotate all its vertices until they look like this. Like this. Okay. You can obviously change the number, increase it or decrease it. And the scale. But this is just what you have to keep in mind. Just play with rotation, scale, and in case you still don't have the effect that you want, go to the original particle, select all the vertices and rotate them until you have the effect that you want. Now I'm gonna move it aside and hide it. Here you can see the box of chocolates completed. I simply duplicated all the chocolates that I showed you, and I used all the techniques that I showed you in this tutorial to change some details like the colors or the sizes. And for this one in particular, I simply created a curve, which is the Archimedean spiral. Very simple to do it. Okay, the last thing I'm gonna show you is how to create this golden ribbon all around your box. So I delete this one, I select my box and I go into edit mode. Now I press Ctrl R to create these 2 loops of edges, and I select here this loop of faces and I duplicate it by pressing Shift D. I release and then I press P, separate selection. Okay, now our ribbon is a separate object from our box, but we still need to extrude it. So I select all his faces and I go here in face, extrude faces along normals. Okay. And now you can just assign a golden material to it. Okay, now I'm just gonna show you my render settings and all the lights that I use to illuminate this 3D scene. So this is rendered in Eevee and these are my parameters. So I enabled ambient occlusion, bloom, and screen space reflections with refraction enabled. Now let's see all the lights that I used. Here we have an area light, white with these parameters, and remember to enable contact shadows. Here we have another area light with a light pink shade. Then we have a simple small area light here behind our object to illuminate it from behind. And then we just have a sun to illuminate the whole scene with strength of 3. And this is the material of the background. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed modeling this beautiful box of chocolates with me. And if you do it, please tag me if you post it on social media, because I really love to share it and to see what you do following my tutorials. And please remember to like this video and subscribe if you want more tutorials and free 3D models. So bye and see you to the next tutorial next week.